Hi guys, and welcome to Odds on Premier League. There is no rest for the players, and now we have the 17th match day with us. We are going to analyze every single game with Tom Williams. But I also want to know your opinion, so please let me know what you think in the comment section, and you will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. Also remember, if you enjoy the video, click the like button, subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to click on the bell to get all the notifications. And now let's go on with the show. The Premier League is not giving us any break during this Christmas period, and we have now the 17th match day, and Tom Williams with us to analyze every single game. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Eduardo.
So let's start with Everton West Ham. Unfortunately, Everton couldn't play their game against Man City in the previous match day for COVID outbreak. So the good news for them is that it's going to be one of the teams that have a little bit more of rest, and they were in really good form, Tom. And now they face West Ham. We know how the problems they are facing. They couldn't beat also Southampton, so now they are 4 games without a victory. And checking the odds in Oddspedia.com, actually I think is pretty good, the odds for Ancelotti's men here, 2.11.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen, particularly in this current round of matches, that a lot of Premier League teams look tired. They're struggling with the repetition of matches in a short space of time. There are lots of teams with injuries. So I think this rest that Everton will have had because of the postponement of their home game against Man City will probably do them a lot of good. They might get some players back from injury. Richarlison was a concussion doubt for that game against City. The likelihood is that he will be back from that. And as you say, they're on a great run of form, 4 straight wins and impressive wins as well. Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal, and then away at Sheffield United last time out. West Ham have been pretty good away from home this season. The only teams that they've lost to on the road have been Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea. And I think that their setup in away games generally is pretty solid. But I think given Everton's form, given the fact they've had this extra bit of rest and might get some players back, and given the fact that West Ham are 4 games without a win, means that I think Everton to win looks like a decent bet here. Yeah,
the rest I think is very important. The next game on Friday is Man United Aston Villa. We saw actually how Man United struggled to beat Wolverhampton. They did it with a very, very, very late winner scored by Rashford. So they are still on the title race chasing Liverpool. We saw how Solskjaer was very happy, of course, celebrating that late goal. And now they face Aston Villa, a dangerous team. We saw them also drawing against Chelsea in Stamford Bridge. They have El Ghazi with a really good form. He scored again, and the odds are for Man United 1.8. They've been a team easy to trust lately, Tom, but this run needs to end at some point. I think they are getting probably even better results than the way the Red Devils are playing lately.
Yeah, this will be a really interesting one. I mean, 2 of the informed teams in the division, Man United unbeaten in 9 league games, Villa unbeaten in 5, and Villa very tight defensively, and particularly away from home. They've only conceded 3 goals away from home this season. They've only dropped 5 points away from home, and we know that United have struggled a little bit at Old Trafford. Their away form has been much better than their home form. Having said that, they've won the last 2 at home against Leeds very comfortably, and then that very hard-fought win against Wolves in their most recent fixture. I think this will be another close game. Villa are very solid. They know what they're doing, particularly when they go away from home. So I think United will really have to work here. They did look a bit tired against Wolves, albeit after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had rotated a bit. So this will probably, we assume, look a little bit more like his strongest starting 11. So yeah, my inclination would still be to back United here, but I think it'll be a tough one. And I wonder whether we might see a similar sort of match to the game against Wolves, where Villa sit back, United have a lot of the ball, and they have to really work to break Villa down. And I was looking at one potential bet, a draw at half-time and United to win at full-time. So the same outcome as against Wolves. You can get odds of around 5 on Oddspedia on that outcome. And I think given the form that Villa are in and the way that United played against Wolves, I wouldn't be surprised to see the same sort of match happen again.
And if it's the same kind of match, also we have under 2.5 goals with odds 2.52. So that could be also a good option to bet in this Man United Aston Villa. Moving on Saturday, we have at White Hart Lane Tottenham Leeds. We were talking Leeds in the last match day, how the clash of styles of Bielsa facing Sam Allardyce. Well, Bielsa won and they really made an amazing performance, beating 5-0 on the road West Bromwich Albion, and they are breaking a lot of records. Actually, this new promoted team like Leeds, we were all very eager to see them in the Premier League. So in these just 16 games, actually they have both scored and conceded 30 goals. This is something that no one has done since 86, 87. That was Southampton. So for sure, this Bielsa's team is going to be remembered. And Tom, now they travel to Mourinho's home. So another opportunity to see two different styles. Maybe also let's get something out of here.
Yeah, I think this will be the most interesting game of the weekend in many ways. Like you say, two very contrasting styles. We know that Leeds will attack. We know that Spurs will defend and try and hit Leeds on the counter-attack, or at least that's what is most likely to happen. So I think this will boil down to how well Spurs can defend. If Spurs can keep Leeds at bay, there will be space in behind Leeds for Spurs to run into. And as we've seen so often this season, or at least in the early months of the season, in Harry Kane and Son Heung-min, Tottenham have a great attacking partnership. They're often devastating on the counter-attack. So I think that's what this game will boil down to. I find it a really hard game to call. I mean, Leeds have been impressive at times in recent weeks, 5-0 away at West Brom in their most recent game, the 5-2 win at home to Newcastle. But at the same time, we've also seen them beaten quite comfortably, the 6-2 defeat at Old Trafford against Man United, the 3-1 defeat at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea. They score lots of goals, they concede lots of goals. So you never really know what to get with Leeds. So yeah, I think there'll be goals in this one, but I'm really not sure how to call it.
Then let's wait, like you say, always sit on the fence with the Tottenham Leeds and move on to Crystal Palace Sheffield United. Sheffield United also breaking all the records like Leeds, but in the negative way. They lost again against Burnley. And Crystal Palace, they drew against Leicester City. They took the lead actually with Zaha scoring. Maybe they even deserve a little bit more. And the odds here for Crystal Palace is quite decent, I would say 2.05. But Sheffield United, they keep all the games really close. The thing is that they don't get any points.
That's the crazy thing about Sheffield United. You look at them statistically, bottom of the table, no wins from their first 16 games. Already 11 points from safety. They look dead certs for relegation. They're beating records for mediocrity left, right and centre. And yet every team that plays them has to work hard to beat them. They don't let many goals in. They tend to give their opponents a decent game. Consequently, it wouldn't be a surprise for them to pick up a result unexpectedly somewhere. But at the moment, given their struggles, particularly in front of goal, they had 63% of possession at Burnley in midweek, but only 3 shots on target. And I think that really sort of demonstrates the difficulties that they've been having in front of goal this season. Palace got that point at home to Leicester, as you said, having lost the previous 2 games against Liverpool, that 7-0 defeat at Selhurst Park and then the 3-0 defeat at Villa Park. And it felt quite a significant point, the point they picked up against Leicester. Yes, Leicester made a lot of changes, but they're still a decent team. They had a lot of the ball, and it felt like an important result for Palace. And I think they'll draw a lot of courage from the way that they sort of fought in that game. So yeah, I'd be inclined to back Palace here. And I think given Sheffield United struggles in front of goal, something like a Palace win to 0, which you can get at odds of around 3.3 on Oddspedia, that looks like a decent bet in this one.
It does. It's a good bet, I think. In the next one, Brighton Wolves, what the bookies expect is a draw. We can see the odds that are pretty much the same for Brighton and Wolves, but the thing is that both really need to win because Brighton is getting really close to the relegation zone. Now they are 7 games without a victory. They lost again against Arsenal. And Wolves, same thing, no? They were very close to get a point from Old Trafford, but they lost. They are missing a lot. Raúl Jiménez, we are saying all over again, but the thing is that they've only scored 15 goals this season, so probably, Tom, this is gonna be first a tight game, and probably we won't see many goals here.
Yeah, I think as ever with Wolves, betting on a low amount of goals makes sense. We saw that again against Manchester United in their most recent game. They're a really impressive team, Wolves. They impress me every single time I watch them. They control their matches really well. They've got an awful lot of experience. They've reverted to the back three in recent games, and we know how solid they are in that setup. The only problem they have is that they're not scoring goals, and they've only won one of their last 6 games. But Brighton's form is also very worrying. Like you say, only 1 win in 14 in the Premier League. I think they've only won once at home in the league all season. So yeah, it'll be a tight one. Two teams that need the points. I would be minded to back Wolves here. They are a good team. They've shown that at times this season. And given Brighton's very poor form and the fact that Wolves, are unquestionably a very good team, I think this will be the game where Wolves do get a win, and it might just give them a bit of fresh momentum heading into the new year.
All right, the odds are 2.95, so good enough to back Wolves. And you said in the last video that also Arsenal was they had to face Brighton, and was very important for them to get the victory, to get this momentum, and they got it. Now we have West Brom Arsenal with back-to-back victories for Arteta's men, something really important. Like I said, they scored that goal in the first touch. And what to say about West Brom, no? Really a strange team. They were able to draw against Man City and Liverpool on the road, but then they got thrashed at home by Aston Villa first and by Leeds afterwards. Big Sam is not happy at all, and now we see how Arsenal is really favourite to get the victory at the Hawthorns.
Yeah, I mean, as we've said before, it will take Sam Allardyce time to get West Brom playing the way that he wants them to play. I think that performance and that result at Liverpool suggested that he might get there more quickly. But as we saw in the game against Leeds, they are very far away from a team that looks like it has any chance of staying up this season. I think Arsenal have to be favourites for this, given the fact they look to have turned a corner at least. That Chelsea win felt like a potential turning point, but they needed to build on that to make sure that it was a turning point. And the fact they did that, albeit with a slightly hard-fought win against Brighton, I think that's a clear sign that the things are perhaps just starting to move in the right direction. I would expect Arsenal to win here, but they're still a team that are searching for confidence. Mikel Arteta has put his faith in a lot of his young players, players who are still finding their way in the game. And I think Sam Allardyce's reaction to that West Brom defeat against Leeds and the manner of it will likely be that he really insists on his team being sort of tight at the back. So I can see Arsenal winning this one, but I don't think it'll be massively high scoring. So maybe something like under 2 goals. You can get odds of 3.3 or thereabouts on Oddspedia. I think that's the sort of game we're looking at. Arsenal will have the ball. I expect they'll probably get the 3 points, but I don't think it'll be a walk in the park.
Yeah, and the odds for Arsenal's victory are not really appealing, only 1.65. So probably it's not good to bet on the Gunners for sure with those odds. Maybe we can find better odds in the Burnley Fulham, especially if we back Burnley, odds 2.45, because the Clarets are doing a good job in the last weeks. They beat Sheffield United with me scoring that header. So now it's only one defeat in the last 6 games. It was against Leeds. And it's a relegation battle game for sure. Fulham had also improved a lot in the last weeks, so probably it's going to be a very, very tight game here. I don't know if also you see Burnley winning this, or of course Fulham is also very competitive. It won't be a surprise if the London team gets something.
Yeah, I mean, Fulham have really turned a corner in recent weeks. They've become a very difficult team to beat, and I think they'll go into this game with a bit more belief, given that recent turnaround. But yeah, Burnley equally have turned a corner and look much more like the team we've got used to seeing in recent seasons. As you say, only one defeat in their last 6 league games. They're not letting many goals in. And in particular at Turf Moor, they are a very difficult team to play against. Only Southampton, Spurs and Chelsea have won there this season. So yeah, I don't think it'll be a particularly exciting game. I can't see there being lots of goals, but my expectation would be that Burnley will come out on top. And I think given their defensive solidity, it makes sense to back them to win to 0 here, and you can get odds of 4 on that outcome on Oddspedia.
Yeah, probably for the random spectators it's not gonna be amazing, but it's very important for the relegation battle, that for Burnley Fulham. And then we have an important game for the Champions League battle, Newcastle Leicester City. Leicester really missed Jamie Vardy in their game against Crystal Palace. Iheanacho missed a lot of chances, but they have to beat Newcastle, always a team that struggled. They get the results. Probably they are not going to suffer this year, but they are far away from the quality of the Foxes. And the odds here for Leicester City is 1.71, not really high as well.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Brendan Rodgers rested so many players for that game against Palace makes me think that he was targeting this game at Newcastle as one that Leicester are really going to go all out to try and win. So I think we'll see a full strength Leicester team, and we all know how good they are when they've got all their key players firing, and particularly away from home this season. So yeah, I can understand why Leicester are the strong favourites for this one. And if you're looking for a slightly more creative bet, maybe something like Leicester to score in both halves, which is available at odds of 2.7. And I think, yeah, just the way that Leicester tend to approach these away games, the fact that Jamie Vardy is probably going to come back into the starting 11, that Harvey Barnes is in form, that James Maddison's coming back into a bit of form, I can only see a Leicester win here, and probably quite a straightforward one.
Good goal scored by Barnes, but we all missed Jamie Vardy, of course, in that game at Selhurst Park. In London, we have the best game probably in this first match day of the year. Chelsea, Man City. Man City probably also rested after the postponed game against Everton if all the players are healthy. This is something that we don't know right now. And they face a really depressed team like the Blues, but they are only 3 points away actually from the Champions League zone, but they have to react immediately. They drew again against Aston Villa, and they are having many problems. Giroud is still scoring. So where are all these new signings, all this money spent? Probably Abramovich is not really happy, and I'm very surprised to see the high odds on Man City actually, almost 2.5 right now on oddspedia.com. I don't know if you trust also the citizens to beat the Blues here.
It's hard to trust City in the sense that they are not the swashbuckling team that we got used to seeing in recent seasons. Having said that, their recent form has been reasonably solid, unbeaten in their last 6 in the league, and defensively in particular, they're very, very robust. And yeah, Chelsea still struggling for fluency. The new signings, some of them have settled in very quickly, notably the defensive signings, but at the other end of the pitch, Timo Werner, Kai Havertz in particular, both started on the bench in that game against Villa, and it feels like Chelsea are at quite a key stage in their season. So yeah, for me, I'd probably have City as favourites for this one. I think the one worry with City is that they don't make their possession count as much as they always do. or as much as they did in previous seasons. And given Chelsea's firepower, there is a danger that if City aren't able to really make their possession count, that there is a risk of them being punished for it. But I think given Chelsea's difficulties, I would be minded to back a narrow City success here.
All right. Also, the odds for under 2.5 goals. We've seen how Man City is struggling to score. Chelsea also used to keep the games very tight. The odds for under 2.5 goals is paid 2.25. That's also a good option. So it's not an easy trip for the citizens going to Stamford Bridge. It's not an easy trip also for Liverpool going to St Mary's. They have to face Southampton, although probably it's the best time of the season to face Southampton. They drew again against West Ham, so it's no victories for them in the last 4 games. And we all know that Liverpool struggle a little bit more away. We saw it, for instance, at Craven Cottage. They have a tough game in the FA Cup, actually. They have Aston Villa, but for sure, Klopp is gonna put everything on the pitch to face Southampton, and the odds for Liverpool victory is 1.7.
Yeah, I mean, you'd always back Liverpool. I think even though they have wobbled on occasion this season, they're still clearly the best team in the division. I think Southampton's recent form suggests that this will be quite a cagey game. I feel like I'm saying that about every game, but that has been a real feature of matches over the last couple of weeks. I mean, defensively, Southampton have only conceded 3 goals in the last 6 games. They're a very hard-working team. I mean, they dominated the game against West Ham in terms of possession, in terms of chances, just weren't able to get a goal to kill West Ham off. So, I don't think this will be a game where Liverpool will have loads of time on the ball, loads of space. I would expect them to get the victory ultimately, but I think it'll be quite a low-scoring game. And looking at the goals markets, you can get odds of 4 on there being 2 goals or fewer. And I think given the nature of Southampton's recent games, I think that is an entirely conceivable outcome here.
Yeah, we are not seeing many goals in the Premier League, not this rhythm, not really fast-paced games that we are used to see in the Premier League. Now, luckily, we have a rest, although there are FA Cup games, so hopefully we can see a little bit more of quality in the next weeks. But before we end all these videos in Christmas period with the traditional Premier League, I want to ask you for the ACCA for this first match day of the 2021.
Okay, so my ACCA selection for this week is Manchester United, Tottenham, Leicester and Liverpool. Okay,
these 4 favorites, these 4 teams that are also in the Champions League, well, in the top of the table. Tottenham is not in Champions League positions. We have odds for this ACCA 8.11 if Man United, Tottenham, Leicester and Liverpool win. Then this is everything, Tom. Let's have a rest and enjoy a little bit more the Christmas period. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, and a Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year. So Tom thinks that Man United and Liverpool are going to continue winning in the fight for the title. But I also want to know your opinion. So please let me know what you think in the comment section, and you will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. Just leave a comment and you will participate in the draw. And do not forget, if you enjoy the video, click on the like button, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get all the notifications. You can listen also to all our videos in our podcast. We will be back very soon with more videos about the Premier League.